39 degrees at the top of the hour on a Monday morning. This is the 23rd day of February, and a day circled on the calendar of Sylacauga Police Chief Chris Carden on this February 23. And Chief, good morning to you, sir.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Well, it's an exciting day for the Sylacauga Police Department and the city of Sylacauga.
Big day for us. We're finally going to be able to open our new facility to the public, and we're going to have an open house this afternoon at 3, and we're hoping that everybody can make plans to come.
Now, you're a historian and know about the ins and outs of the past Sylacauga Police Department and the physical location of it. Talk a little bit about the old days as you know them, and you share with your PowerPoint production and presentation, and where we are today.
Well, my father, Butch Carden, dispatched for years and years down at the police department. And so when I was just a young guy, I'd sit down there for hours in the radio room and got to know a lot of the policemen, and started kind of collecting little pieces of history here and there. And then when I got on, came up through the ranks, collected more and more stuff and learned more facts about the department. And the building that we're currently occupying was opened in August of '73, so 43 years ago, and it's been that long since we've really had an upgrade. And we've had water coming in and lots of leaks, lots of issues, and so it's just way overdue. And I think everybody at the police department's really excited.
Sylacauga Police Chief Chris Carden, our guest this morning. The ribbon cutting and open house is today at 3 o'clock at Sylacauga Police Department headquarters, and you've seen this come to fruition about the building and the remodeling, but a lot of people have made this possible with their service, and they're going to be honored today at the ribbon cutting and open house.
Yeah, we're going to have several retirees and former employees will be present. In addition, we're going to have some former police chiefs represented. There's only 3 police chiefs that are alive, myself and Chief Zook and Chief Bill Hay. But we're going to have representatives from the families of Alvin Rylant, who was the chief right before Albert Higgins, and Albert Higgins' wife, Joyce Higgins, and her daughter, Terry Trammell, are scheduled to be there today as well. And Alvin's daughter, Judy Rylant Brown, will be here to celebrate with us. So there'll be some heavy hitters being represented. And
the Sylacauga Chamber of Commerce, this is an event they're sponsoring, of course. It's at 3 o'clock, the ribbon cutting and open house, and it's going to be in the lobby of the police department. And for people who may not know, as far as the newness and remodeling, exactly where that's going to be.
We are in the very basement of City Hall, kind of by the elevator and the Coke machines and the restrooms, and it's a small area to start, so we're going to be sort of cramped, I'm predicting, in the beginning. But all the doors in the entire new facility will be opened. Employees will be on hand to guide you through if you'd like a guided tour, or you can just kind of give yourself a self-paced tour. Everything is labeled, and Cassie Epperson, my administrative person, she has gone to great lengths to make sure that you'll know where and what everything is. So just come to the basement of City Hall. We won't be hard to find.
Talk about some of the pluses of the remodeling process as compared to the way it was just before the remodeling started.
Well, I tell you, one of the biggest advantages that we now have is all of the police department personnel are now functioning under one roof. And for the past 43 years, we've been in 2 separate places, and there was no security at each facility. So if, I can remember working at my desk when I first became police chief, and somebody poking their head in my office door and saying, "Hey, where do I pay a parking ticket?" That kind of stuff. So now we're all under one place. It's kind of a one-stop shop. If you need to get somebody out of jail, unfortunately, that does happen. If you need to see the police chief about a parking ticket, because that happens too every day, you can do all that at one place now. So our detectives, our records, everything is in one location, and that's the big benefit.
Have you been able to salvage some of the old stuff that was formerly used there?
Yeah, we salvaged one of the complete cell doors, and we mounted it, had it welded in as part of, actually the architect included it in the original conceptual idea for this new police station. And so we can open it and slam it for the kids when they come through on the tour. No more peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, kind of Barney Fife kind of deal. And we have a few other things that are here and there throughout the place. I've made sure that I've incorporated a lot of the history of the department with some newer ideas and some newer trends in building design. So I think if you come down, I think you're going to be pretty impressed.
3 o'clock today, the remodeling and open house and ribbon cutting at the newly renovated headquarters, and it's been a long journey, to say the least, especially for you guys there, but it's well worth the wait.
Well, it's been almost 2 years since we took out the very first piece of steel. And I would like to mention that, the city council and mayor, of course, they gave the money for this and authorized us to, bid out each individual section. We kind of acted as our own contractor. But Mike Whetstone up in the code enforcement department, inspection department, he single-handedly kind of made sure that this project happened. And I'm indebted to him personally, and the police department is just very grateful that the city hired Mike Whetstone.
Sylacauga Police Chief Chris Carden, our guest this morning, and a lot of the retirees and their family members will be there today, former employees, and there will be the guest of honor, and you certainly are invited to attend today. And police work is ever changing, technology is ever changing, but it's still, Chief, is it not a people business?
Well, if you'll look on our Facebook, I put a press release out a few days ago, and in the very last paragraph, I basically explained that I'm still pushing for that complete 100% transparency in the police department, and for us not to be the city service that you just encounter on a traffic stop or a call for service, but a city service that you're familiar with, like the mayor's office, like the clerk's office. We'd like for you to come down and see us, anytime. If you can't make the open house today, if you'll just come down there and ask for me, let me meet you, let me walk you through, let me introduce you to some of the men and women that make up this police department, and we're open. We just want to be an open, viable service to the city.
Talk a little bit, Chief, this morning about opportunities that the Sylacauga Police Department looks forward to in working with citizens in our community, whether it's upgrading our equipment. I know we've got the cameras that are going to be on all the policemen before very long, and a lot of good things ahead for the Sylacauga Police Department in this community.
Sure, we're adding new technology all the time, and what you're referring to, Jimmy Dale, is the body cameras that we now have for every police officer. And we're in the middle of that, and we're actually should start the training and start the implementation of that technology this coming week. We're going to be purchasing a new police car. The mayor's had me get some information together for that, and we're going to hopefully get that to the council at the next work session. We're looking at building a weight room and a training center for the police officers in the area that we actually abandoned over the next year or two. And so and we're also going to be we've had some resignations, we've had some people move on to bigger and better things, and that opens the door for some promotions, and we should be giving a policeman's test this spring, and we're always looking for good people that are good Sylacauga folks. And
you also in recent months have talked about recruiting and hopefully opening up a wider area to recruit from.
Sure, we've changed our residence requirement. We were formerly only allowed to hire people that lived within a 30-minute time frame to City Hall, but now we've changed that. As long as you can get here within an hour, you're subject to be hired, as long as you go through the rest of the promotion process. We are on a push to hire and to promote minorities in the Sylacauga Police Department. We're actively seeking people that would fall within that category. We want to be a better representation of the Sylacauga community, and currently we're not. So that's obviously something that we're looking forward to, and the promotion process will be starting soon, and that's a tricky time for the police department, but it's a needed change.
You surround yourself with men and women of like thinking, but who are able to come up with ideas, to have an idea to bring across your desk to make for a smoother operated Sylacauga Police Department and a better functioning community.
Well, what generally happens when you're a small shop like Sylacauga is you train people, and then you allow people to flourish with the things that they're naturally good at. And then the downside to that is sometimes you lose good people to bigger police departments. I don't know if you know, but Sergeant Matt Emlich has recently resigned, and he's going to the Hoover Police Department, which is one of the premier law enforcement agencies in the state. And that's just a good example of the not only
been a real asset for our police department community.
It's going to be a tough hit. And Matt has not only been a great asset to me personally as far as the things he handles at the police department, but he's just a good, he's from here. He's a good representation of this city. And, as bad as I would like to keep him, it's really a pat on the back to the Sylacauga Police Department that he's going to Hoover PD, and we should be proud of that.
Today at 3 o'clock, it will be the ribbon cutting and open house for the newly renovated headquarters. For people watching this morning who say, I want to come, but that's a big complex, where do they go in at?
Well, if you'll park in the lot across from the library and just go straight down the steps to the very basement, or you can go in the main City Hall building and take the elevator to the basement. If you'll show up in the basement, you cannot miss us. We're in the basement. We are the basement.
Talk just a little bit before we go. You mentioned being able to salvage one of the cell doors. That city jail, if it could talk, what some stories it would tell.
Well, it's funny you should bring that up, but there are a lot of stories, good and bad, that come out of that facility, and that's actually where our administrative offices are now. And Captain Johnson, who of course is the deputy chief, the assistant chief, he's afraid of ghosts. So we always tease him about ghosts that may or may not be occupying the halls there in the old city jail. So we have a little fun with that, but there is a lot of history in that area. And I think that the public needs to come down and see how we've salvaged some of the history, how we've salvaged some of the memories, and how we've made the police department a lot more functional than it was before.
And there's also a little food to be had today, too.
There will be. Mike Landers, of course, a good friend of mine. He was where I stopped. He was my first stop when I wanted to get some chicken fingers on the itinerary. So Sylacauga Chamber of Commerce always, Carol Bates, prior to Mike Landers, always been a big supporter of the police department. I can remember chamber directors as far back as Brian Murphy and people that have just always sponsored the police department. So Mike Landers, he checked with the board and they've agreed to sponsor it, and we're excited about that. So.
Sylacauga Police Chief Chris Carden, our guest this morning, and Louis Zook was the police chief whom you worked under and got your training. He's very, very important in your life. Presumably he'll be here today?
He will. I confirmed with Louis last night. He's going to be in Sylacauga this afternoon. Chief Bill Hay, who hired me in 1994, he will be there. So all three of us will be together in one place, and there will be lots of my former lieutenants and sergeants, and there'll be lots of faces that you probably haven't seen in a long time. And I'm sure people like Marty Batson should be there, and Wayne Murchison, I'm sure, will be there. Jimmy Nail is going to be there today. So they'll be
that goes back a long way, doesn't it?
That's a pretty stiff batting order. So
3 o'clock today, ribbon cutting and open house, the newly renovated headquarters of Sylacauga Police Department, and certainly you are invited to attend wherever you're watching us this morning. And if you can't make it today, be sure to make it a date where you check out the newly renovated Sylacauga Police Department. And a lot of hard work taking place, a lot of money spent, and a lot of people that have paid the price, and some the ultimate price, to make this Sylacauga Police Department what it is: dignity, honor, community.
That's right.
Sylacauga Police Chief Chris Carden, our guest this morning. And Chief, always good to see you. Closing remark this morning, and I ask you this almost every time he comes, and he's very busy, so we get him when we possibly can, honoring his busy schedule. When you're looking for a police person, whether it's a man or a woman, a police officer, prospective officer, what are 2 or 3 key things that you look for?
Well, I think any employer starts with loyalty. And I think that in order to have good policemen in a community, I think you need to, as much as you can, hire policemen that are from that community, that have some loyalty to the area they serve. So one of the very first things that I'm always looking for is, I use the word, hometown boys, but hometown men and women that are willing to, join the force and allow us to send them to the police academy and stick with us, make a commitment to stay with us as long as you can. And a good work ethic it's getting harder and harder to find. So we like people that show up on time, that come to work when they're scheduled to work. But above all else, it takes a lot of pride and integrity to be in law enforcement. And you've got to be able to put up with a lot. And that's the kind of person we're looking for.
Chief, always a pleasure. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me, Jimmy Dale.
Sylacauga Police Chief Chris Carden. Don't forget the open house ribbon cutting at 3 o'clock this afternoon in the newly remodeled Sylacauga Police Department headquarters. Park in the parking lot across from the library. And you can either go down the steps or either you can go in the main entrance and take the elevator down. So any way you want to do it, be fine. We'll look for you this afternoon at 3 o'clock. We've got more coming up on Daybreak after this.